are LGBTQ plus rights, and the neo-Hindutva extremists see the LGBTQ plus rights as immoral. The ASMT freely ordains women into sannyasa, monastic order, recognizes 11 genders, and performs special temple rituals for gay marriage as per more than the 5,000-year-old indigenous spiritual scriptures. The ASMT represents one of the most progressive ideologies and is a target of persecution by the neo-Hindutva extremists. The next point. Point number 3. The ASMT tradition is ancient. Around 3200 BCE, the Mahabharata war ended in the Indian subcontinent. At the same time, at least 56 nations in Asia gave shelter to more than 10,000 Hindu communities and protected the rights of women. These 56 nations span from Gandhara, which is in Afghanistan, and to Kadaram, which is Kedar, in Malaysia. The town of Parshu in present-day Iran finds mention in the ancient Hindu scriptures as a Hindu city today has no Hindu men or women. The 4,000 indigenous people of Kalash, the Chitrai Valley of Pakistan, the only survivors of the ASMT tradition in the region, through separated over a distance of 10,000 kilometers, are no different from the indigenous Adi Shaivites of Kashmir, North India, or the indigenous Adi Shaivites of South India, Tamil Nadu, or the Adi Shaivites of Bali, Indonesia. Although Hinduism is alive as a culture, its political and religious legitimacy was wiped from the geography of Asia as these nations got invaded and colonized. These invasions caused a genocide where, per estimates, 80 million to 400 million people were killed through massacre, mass gang rapes, and torture. Thousands of temples, universities, and libraries were destroyed. 10,000 Hindu communities, which existed by 3200 BCE, were reduced to just 3,000. The fourth point. In Hinduism, the highest reverence is attributed to the Guru, the spiritual guide in the body, or in principle in the form of teachings as a scripture for worshipped deity. Hindu scriptures declared, indeed, the Guru is the whole universe. There is nothing higher than the Guru. Therefore, worship the Guru. In Hindu families, the mother is worshipped as the first Guru of the child. In Hinduism, all women are not merely respected as equal to men, rather worshipped as a manifestation of Devi Parashakti, the supreme primordial cosmic divinity. In Hinduism, young girls are worshipped from infancy as an incarnation of the Divine Mother, Goddess Parashakti, and considered to bring fortune and well-being. Here you can see the pictures of young women being worshipped. The point number 5. In ancient Hindu nations, some young girls who cognized themselves as a manifestation of the Divine Mother chose to never marry any human and dedicated themselves to the administration of Hindu temples and worship of the deity or god of the temple. There were many such monastic traditions, such as Rudra Kanyas, the daughters of the Lord Rudra, and Devadasis. Colonial views of Devadasis were highly subversive, leading to their socio-economic deprivation and exploitation. The colonial era government of India ran state-sponsored brothels through several legislations. This practice was severely criticized by the citizens of England and other European countries. British government also established institutions known as lock hospitals, where women were brought to be treated for vulnerable diseases, venereal diseases. However, many of the women admitted to these hospitals, including many Devadasis, were identified through the registry and were brought to the hospitals against their will. A number of these women were never seen again by their families. Over time, through hit literature, the Hindu nuns, the Rudrakanyas and Devadasis, were stigmatized as prostitutes during the colonial era. After independence, the state of Tamil Nadu passed legislation criminalizing the tradition. The bill stereotyped and marginalized by the Devadasis by addressing them as prostitutes. The will was opposed by Devadasis but enacted and made into a law. This reinforced the colonial stigma around the tradition, undermining the human rights of nuns. And the report continues to present the various challenges faced by the ASMT women in India. And the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism. See, there are so many attacks, misrepresentations, hate speech, and so much of criminal conspiracy to destroy this ancient indigenous tradition of the ASMT women, that destroy the ancient indigenous tradition of Rudra Kanyas and Devadasis and the female Sannyas Sampradaya, which the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism has been tirelessly working to revive as a part of the revival of Kailasa, the enlightened Hindu civilizational nation. And we are now going to be presenting to you how the neo-Hindutva elements and the anti-Hindu elements are planning their conspiracy and attack to destroy the last lamp of Hinduism, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, Jagadguru Mahasannidhanam, His Divine Holiness, Bhagavan Nithyananda Paramashivam, how the neo-Hindutva elements are conspiring to destroy every single indigenous tradition that is out there, which could lead to the extinction of the world's oldest and the only living civilization, Sanatana Hindu Dharma. After a short break.
Paramashivoham. Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham.
Just be alive for next 3 years. Don't die within next 3 years. Just don't die within next 3 years. Be alive, somehow be alive. I'm working sincerely. I will reach you somehow. Somehow I will reach you. It's my commitment to humanity. Just don't die within next 3 years. I will reach you wherever you are, whichever corner of the world you may be. I will reach you with enlightenment. You manifesting the space, state, powers, being Paramashivam. It is possible, and it is possible for you. Paramashiva will reach you with enlightenment science. I know he is going to do the job. Just be alive. Just be alive for next 3 years. Don't die within next 3 years. Just don't die within next 3 years. Be alive, somehow be alive. I'm working sincerely. I will reach you somehow. Somehow I will reach you. It's my commitment to humanity. Just don't die within next 3 years. I will reach you wherever you are, whichever corner of the world you may be. I will reach you with enlightenment. You manifesting the space, state, powers, being Paramashivam. It is possible, and it is possible for you. Paramashiva will reach you with enlightenment science. I know he is going to do the job. Just be alive for next 3 years. Nothing else.
Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Nithyananda Paramashivoham.
Nithyanandam, welcome back, dear viewers. And just as we saw, just as Nithyananda Swami was sharing with all of us, Kailash, the air of Kailash has been, you can touch and feel the celebration in the air of Kailash, as finally each and every one of us are celebrating the whole victory of how the persecution, the whole religious persecution that the Supreme Pontiff of Hindu took it upon himself just for the revival of Hinduism, just for the revival, just for the empowerment of humanity, just for the empowerment of women. The whole persecution and attacks that the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism had taken upon himself is now coming to light, where as a first step, one of the first step of it, the United Nations has recognized the persecution of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism and Kailasa. Now, as we all were seeing in the introduction part, we all were seeing about the revival of the Rudrakanya Sampradaya and various other orders of Sanatana Hindu Dharma. Now, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, as one of the most progressive movement towards reviving the Vedic feminism, towards the Hindu feminism, had revived so many traditions, subsects. And the Yogini Sampradaya was one of the main revival, which is all-encompassing of many other sub-segments of Hinduism. The Yogini Sampradaya, the revival of Yogini Sampradaya, is one of the most progressive, the most powerful, and one of the most beautiful revival of Hindu feminism, where women were empowered to be able to live to the peak of their ability from the highest inner image, with the highest respect and reverence given exactly as it is given in the Hindu scriptures. Just as we all saw in Sanatana Hindu Dharma, Guru is a center of everything. And after Guru, the reverence is given to women, where women are considered as mothers, as the embodiment of cosmic mothers. Now, here, the revival of Yogini Sampradaya, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, through the revival of Yogini Sampradaya, brought to light to humanity, brought back to humanity one of the most powerful, most safest, and one of the most phenomenal revival of Vedic feminism, where it was the whole thing was happening by women, for women, directly under the guidance and the blessings of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism. And joining with us in this segment are Manitya Pranapriyananda and Manitya Achalananda Swami, who is here to share about the revival of the Yogini Sarvajnapeetam, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, how the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism spearheaded the revival of Yogini Sampradaya, how this reached to so many lives, transforming and touching millions of lives in multiple facets and multiple aspects, and the persecution that the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism had to face, that the neo-Hindutva and the anti-Hindu militant elements, the persecution that was launched on the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism by the neo-Hindutva and anti-Hindu elements, just for the revival of Yogini Sampradaya and for the empowerment of women.
Yes, thank you, Nithyananda. So, like all of you mentioned, it is one of the momentous events for Kailasa, where the persecution on the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism and his community, especially the revival that the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism has done to empower the real Hindu women, real Hindu feminism, and how that has been persecuted by the anti-Hindu elements and the neo-Hindutva groups has been brought out to the attention of brought out to the attention, and the UN has recognized it. So just to give a brief about what and how it all happened, the whole science of Yogini Sarvajnapeetam, it is revealed to Parashakti, the cosmic feminine consciousness, from Paramashiva. And from Parashakti, the whole science is transmitted to 64 yoginis. And that is how the whole Yogini Sarvajnapeetam, whole Yogini Sampradaya was started evolving in the planet Earth. So it is from Paramashiva to Parashakti, and Parashakti transmitted this whole science of true Hindu Vedic feminism to 64 yoginis. And this 64 yoginis spread this whole tradition, whole Sampradaya to others, and it was first formed in Hirapur Garbhapuri. And this Hirapur Garbhapuri is the golden cosmic eternal womb where the divine cosmic feminine consciousness evolved. And the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism has revived this entire tradition, not in 2019 or 2018, right from his mission. He evolved this whole Shakta Sampradaya, Yogini Sampradaya, right from the initial days of his mission, from performing the Chandi Homa, giving the Bhava Samadhi darshans as Devi, and performing various rituals, reviving various rituals from Shakta Sampradaya. So, and one of the milestone was this whole happening of Yogini Sampradaya in Gujarat. And that was brutally attacked by these anti-Hindu elements. And there is a larger conspiracy involved on why they attacked this Yogini Sampradaya in Gujarat that was formed in 2019. So today's show, we're going to bring out the facts about why the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism was persecuted and why this Yogini Sampradaya was chosen as one of the weapons for the anti-Hindu elements to portray the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism as the enemy of the state. So before we get into the details, we're going to first share what Swamiji, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, has revealed about Yogini Sampradaya and how he has revived this tradition, just for us to understand the larger picture of why he was persecuted. So let's watch a short video where the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism is explaining the importance, the significance of this Yogini Sampradaya and how he has revived it.
Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Paramashivoham. Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Paramashivoham.
Just be alive for next 3 years. Don't die within next 3 years. Just don't die within next 3 years. Be alive. Somehow be alive. I'm working sincerely. I will reach you somehow. Somehow I will reach you. It's my commitment to humanity. Just don't die within next 3 years. I will reach you wherever you are, whichever corner of the world you may be. I will reach you with enlightenment. You manifesting the space, state, powers, being Paramashivam.
Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Paramashivoham. Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham.
The whole science of yoginis, evolving yoginis and rudraganyas, swaminis, giving superconscious breakthrough, enlightenment, powers to women, that whole science, rishikas, producing rishikas, rudraganyas, yoginis, swaminis, this whole science, Parashakti has revealed first to 64 yoginis. Through Parashakti, Paramashiva himself revealed, and through them, the whole sampradaya started evolving. That science was held, kept alive and protected and flourished in Surangi Samrajya. The place was called Hirapur, means Hiranyagarbha Puri. Hiranyagarbha means the golden cosmic eternal womb. Hiranyagarbha. Hirapur. The Devi's Hiranyagarbha. Parameshwara, the Parashakti, and Paramashiva, Parashakti, Parameshwara is one and the same. Parashakti, Parameshwara, Paramashiva, all one and the same. Paramashiva, Parameshwara, Parashakti manifested this great science of enlightenment and power manifestation to women of the universe and initiated the 64 yoginis, and that science was kept alive as parampara in Surangi Samrajya. That is why the Kanchana Mala, who was master of that science, was princess of Surangi Samrajya, was married to Malayadvaja Pandya. When Meenakshi happened, the whole science was revived in Madurai also. Now, with the grace of Devi Meenakshi Parashakti and Sundareshwara Paramashiva, the whole science of enlightenment, power manifestation, and all the best things for women is going to be again revived in Hirapur of Gujarat in the form of Yogini Sarvajnapeetam. All these sciences which was there in Surangi Samrajya, which Kanchanamala brought to Madurai, which was revived by Meenakshi Parashakti in Madurai, will again be revived now in Hirapur, Gujarat, through the Yogini Sarvajnapeeta. There will be beautiful, grand enlightenment ecosystem for women, exclusively for women. Understand? It will be reviving the Yogini sciences, revival of Yogini Sampradaya, Rudraganya Sampradaya, Rishika Sampradaya, Swamini Sampradaya, Kulasundari Sampradaya, all the feminine superconscious sampradayas revealed by Paramashiva will be revived from this Yogini Sarvajnapeeta, from Hirapur. Understand? This Yogini Sarvajnapeeta is going to be the greatest gift of Paramashiva through this body to the world, to the humanity. Paramashiva and Parashakti, they are one of the greatest gift to the world through this body will be this Yogini Sarvajnapeeta. Understand? This will have a unique temple, monastery, university, training center, exclusively for women, funded only by women. I'll accept donation only from women for this project. Because the temple is going to be exclusively for women. Only women can enter into the temple. There will be separate temple where men, women all can enter. This Yogini Sarvajnapeetam main temple, even what deity is going to be the center, main deity, I will not be revealing it. Only the women who enter inside can have darshan of the deity. only the contribution from women will be accepted for this Yogini Sarvajnapeetam. It will be built, operated, run only by women. Among the women, there will be 64 sampradayas as revealed by Paramashiva and Parashakti. Meenakshi Sundareshwara. The Yogini Sampradaya, Rudraganya Sampradaya, Rishika Sampradaya, Kulasundari Sampradaya, Swamini Sampradaya, like this 64 women Sampradaya, female Sampradayas are revealed by Parashakti Sameda Paramashiva. For women, all that 64 will be revived. Everything given to women by Parashakti and Paramashiva will be revived in this Yogini Sarvajnapeetam. The medicinal system, yoga, power manifestation system, food, enlightenment system, everything given to women by Parashakti and Paramashiva will be revived from here. The Hirapur, Gujarat will be the modern day Hirapur, Orissa. Understand? In Meenakshi's time, the Surangi Samrajya, Hirapur, Orissa was the base for the Yogini Sarvajnapeetam, enlightenment ecosystem for women. Now, in the modern day, the Hirapur, Gujarat is going to be the base for enlightenment ecosystem for women, reviving this whole Yogini Sampradayas, Yogini Sarvajnapeetam. It will have 64 branches, reviving all the 64 sampradayas of yoginis. Yoga Sampradaya, Tantra Sampradaya, Shakta Sampradaya, Kulasundari Sampradaya, Bala Sampradaya, Parashodasi Sampradaya. Rishika Sampradaya, Rudraganya Sampradaya, Swamini Sampradaya. All those traditions, enlightenment ecosystems will be revived. We had amazing women, enlightened beings on the ecosystem. I am excited to do this work. I am excited to do this work. This is going to be something extraordinary. Whatever Meenakshi revived in Madurai, the same thing will be revived now in Hirapur, Gujarat, by Meenakshi Parashakti and Sundareshwara Paramashiva. We will have a beautiful Yogini Sarvajnapeetam temple with the 64 yoginis. What will be the Moola Devata is sacred secret. Only the woman who entered will even know what is Moola Devata inside. The Yogini Sarvajnapeetam.
We just saw how such a grand, detailed vision of the Yogini Sarvajnapeetam, the all-women temple monastery complex, and the revival of the entire tradition, the Yogini tradition in all its glory, in all its facets, and all its dimensions, was revealed by the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, Jagat Guru Mahasannidhanam, His Divine Holiness, Bhagwan Nithyananda Paramashivam. And now, that really sets the stage for the continued persecution on the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, Nithyananda Paramashivam, and that is like over 1.5 decades by now. The planned conspiracy now goes to a lot more sinister level by trying to project the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism and his followers as the enemy of the state. After shutting down the Nithyananda Hindu University Sarvajnapeetam, the minute the vision was revealed, the anti-Hindu terrorist elements had already hatched the multi-layer conspiracy to shut only women temple monastery complex and the largest and the only women's Hindu university. The conspirators got the administration leaders arrested, and following this, their immediate and only target was to find and arrest the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, Nithyananda Paramashivam, and to add to the over 70 assassination attempts already on him, try to assassinate him once again, and to destroy the whole of Kailasa, the mission of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, so that the whole vision and mission is exterminated from its very root. The executive media nexus tried to frame the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, as we know, way back in 2010 on false charges of rape. And even though the United States courts had already declared the case not only to be false, but to be vitiated and motivated, and put a heavy penalty of over $500,000 on the false rape victim who was touting herself as a victim, who was actually a criminal in her own standing. And this time they tried to frame the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism on false charges of child labor and child abuse to the already media trial false charge of rape. The vicious words, the hate propaganda, the character assassination, the yellow journalism, the hate speech towards the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism created an environment in the country where actually the public sided, or they were motivated to side. The whole attempt was to make the public side practically capital punishment for the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism.
Just wanted to add here, Achala Swami, the similar strategy was deployed by the Mughal invaders. They used the women, who is one of the important pillars of Hindu society. They attacked the women to attack the Hindus, to attack the leaders who carried and spread and propagated Hinduism. Similarly, right from the beginning of the persecution till now, always these anti-Hindu elements and neo-Hindutva groups targeted the women of the ASMT community, who are actually holding the pillars of the whole society. They used them, and they used the women as the weapon to assassinate, to carry out the ongoing persecution against the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism. I just wanted to add this perspective while you're explaining the larger picture of how they carried out this attack on YSJP and what is their motive, and how they perpetrated this whole idea, that the whole false idea, just to create the hate speech and further cause more complications, more and more persecution attempts on SPH by terming him as the enemy of the state.
And to give just one example, just one of the examples of the massive hate speech and the hate propaganda, just to give how ridiculous the media mafia can be. The fake news is published that the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism has created an island nation, and when the truth is, Kailasa is a digital borderless nation, is a spiritual space for living the teachings of authentic Hinduism, This fake news was further exacerbated. There were trolls run and further negative propaganda published to say hashtag of #traitor Nithyananda and a report of lies. The Hindu Holocaust being the biggest in world history. That is an unsaid truth. We all know. Further, #traitor Nithyananda and the TV channels, the anti-Hindu TV channels, practically running by the minute, further lie after lie, where it says that the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism has published a report of lies. Neither has the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism published any report, nor is it a bunch of lies. It is a United Nations which has recognized today, as we know, momentously, Hindu persecution, the bigger narrative of the Hindu persecution, and the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, who is today the leader of all the 2 billion Hindus and the reigning emperor of the 19 ancient spiritual kingdoms, which he is reviving in all their original glory. That has been recognized by the United Nations today, as well as for this effort, historical effort to revive Hinduism, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism and Kailasa are being persecuted. That is the truth. And all this fake news, calling him an enemy, a traitor, an enemy of the state, all geared towards the singular target of trying to frame him in more and more serious cases, false cases, in just some attempts so that they can yet again illegally arrest him and try to assassinate him once again.
Actually, what does this really convey? This report, this picture that we are seeing today, it really conveys the ulterior motive of Indian media. Are we saying that we cannot bring out the Hindu persecution and all the atrocities that Hindus have faced over centuries? All of this is a fact. And why this fact of Hindu persecution cannot be brought to the international platform? The whole motive of any press, the fundamental right of any press, is to bring out the truth, the freedom of expression, the freedom of speech. What is wrong? What is so wrong in bringing out the persecution that the Hindus are facing in the country and the Hindus have faced over centuries to the international platform? It is a right of freedom of speech, but that has been twisted to tell that it is a report of lies. So Hindus are denied the basic freedom of speech, freedom of expression, that they have been persecuted in this place. Their basic rights are violated. And further, tainting the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, who has revived 19 Hindu Samrajyas today. Amongst this unprecedented level of brutal persecution, he has done so much of revival of for Hinduism, and he has been tainted as the enemy of the state. It is simply to shiver Hindus. It is simply an attempt to make the Hindus shiver, to even voice out their opinion. Anybody who comes out and then says that, yes, we have been persecuted, we do not have basic rights, our religious freedom is affected here. Nobody can come out and say this, because once you have the very thought to express the persecution that you're facing, you will be tainted as the enemy of the state. So there are multi-layers of things that we can understand by these huge hate speech that is being perpetrated by these anti-Hindu elements, and especially the neo-Hindutva groups. So now let us get into the details of how these anti-Hindu elements, especially the neo-Hindutva terrorist, was deployed as an implant in Kailasa in Gujarat. And he had about 4 kids. So the whole aim of this anti-Hindu elements and the neo-Hindutva groups to exterminate the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism is by making him spreading the false lies as he's the enemy of the state, and putting him in different levels of lawfare. So the lawfare includes some of the things that are completely non-bailable offenses. So this is the strategy that they've been deployed since 2010. So now, like rape, sexual assault, etc. So in the same lines, they found one more strategy of putting him in kidnapping charges and child labor charges, which is once again a non-bailable offense. So this can be propagated in a bigger way and finally name him as the enemy of the state and execute their one more attempt of assassination on the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism. So what they did was basically this anti-Hindu, neo-Hindutva implant had 4 kids who studied in the Nithyananda Gurukul, and he has a history of financial embezzlement and he has history of wrong parenting, etc. So what he did was he filed a fake complaint. It's not even a complaint. He gave an inquiry that his kids are being kidnapped, while actually in the reality his kids were there in the Nithyananda Gurukul that was established in the Yogini Sarvajnapeetam. The kids in front of the police, they gave statements, especially one of his daughters gave a statement very clearly that she wants to be part of YSJP and she doesn't want to go with her parents. She was not kidnapped. She is staying here on her free will. Despite giving these statements repeatedly, this perspective, this truth was not brought out. The world does not know, the media and the police did not want to share this truth to the world. And they just used this fake complaint as a medium to put the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism into lawfare and finally term him as the enemy of the state. So what you're seeing now is the picture of this anti-Hindu, neo-Hindutva implant who has a long history of financial embezzlement and debts. But right after the attack started, he started using very luxurious cars and house and etc., plenty of money. So there was a clear evidence of how he has been supported by the people who are powerful. And what you're seeing here is the video testimonials of the daughters who clearly express that they are living here out of free will and they do not want to go back to the parents and they want to continue serving the society as female Hindu monks. They want to empower the society through the principles that are shared in Vedas and Agamas and revived by Swamiji. This is what they want to do. And they are here out of free will. But they do not want to go back and live with his parents. So this has been multiple times. It's been expressed over social media, press conference, and so forth. But even then, the truth was never accepted. The truth was never listened to. They framed false charges and they used this as an attempt to term the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism as the enemy of the state.
Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Om
one can see here, the unfolding of the sinister conspiracy already hatched by yet one more implant of the anti-Hindu elements, this time in the form of a parent of the kids of Nithyananda Gurukul, having admitted his kids into the Nithyananda Gurukul, then putting these false charges of wanting to take his students, his kids home and being denied so, which was evidently not true. In fact, multiple evidences in the form of documents, video evidences, pictures, everything has been presented in the appropriate forums as we speak. Yet, the only weapon that was not in the hands of the ASMT and the followers of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism was this fourth estate, the media, which media channels were being used by the anti-Hindu terrorist elements to project the false narrative. That alone was enough, because the only window that was available for the public at large and for various sections of the democracy itself, all the other three pillars of the democracy, was just this one fourth estate called the media. The media mafia completely spreading disinformation and misinformation and continuously spreading these rumors and lies about the Yogini Sarvajnapeetam, effectively defaming the Gurukul, the Nithyananda Hindu University, the administrators, the children, leaving nothing at all. Continuous lies, hate speech, hate propaganda being spread, and these visuals being shown where it's projected as if the institutions are involved in anti-nation or illegal or immoral, whatever activities. This laid the foundation for the immense lawfare that was going to follow right on its heels. Continuously, these visuals shown were as if the children of the Nithyananda Gurukul were not safe, or the women of the Nithyananda Hindu University and the Yogini Sarvajnapeetam not safe. It's really ironic, because the singular reason why so many women disciples, nuns, children, students, balasans, all of us exist here for years and decades at the various de facto spiritual embassies of Kailasa in India is the one singular reason that of protection and safety and true empowerment given by the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, Nithyananda Paramashivam, especially to women. I'd like to share here one very personal experience that I have had as a female sannyasi of the Sovereign Order of Kailasa, being initiated directly by the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, the Nijavatara, Bhagwan Nithyananda Paramashivam himself. When I moved in here to Adi Kailasa, from being a part-time volunteer of the Kailasa's various activities to a residential volunteer, and then move on to become a sannyasi of the Sovereign Order of Kailasa, one night, it was past midnight, it was pretty late in the night, and I was alone washing clothes on the stone slab which is right outside the living quarters of our female sannyasis. And the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, along with his few disciples, was on his security rounds. He himself used to ensure the security of everyone in the Adi Nambi, women, men, children, everyone. And he was passing by, he just glanced at me and he asked a question, just was almost spontaneously saying, "Are you not scared to be alone at this time in the night?" And I was actually taken aback because even the thought had not crossed my mind. It is not that I have lived in some utopian world. I come from a city, a metropolitan city in India. And it's not that I have ventured outside in the late hours of the night. So when he asked the question, I was myself taken aback because I was like, I spontaneously replied, "No, Swamiji, I feel so safe over here. I never even thought about, the thought even never crossed my mind about the safety and security in our ashram, in our adinam." And he just smiled and walked away. After that, it left me thinking, oh my God, that is such a huge thing. That's such a huge freedom and liberation for me, because in spite of being exposed to everything in the world, in the sense of having lived in India, having lived in the United States, and seen all kinds of people, having experienced a work life, student life, everything, it is not unknown to me about how a single woman gets treated or runs the risk of being treated anywhere, in any country, in any city, at any age. It's not that I have not experienced those kind of abuses done to women very casually on the street or in the bus or even at school or in the workplace. I have myself been a victim of those. It was just so humbling for me. I was so full of gratitude to the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism yet again, for amongst the so many things that he has showered on all of us, especially the women disciples, this atmosphere of absolute security and safety, I was just so touched that he's given this all to us so casually, and unfortunately we just take it so much for granted. But just this one single factor, you can see all the attacks being done on the disciples, on the adinams, and what keeps us going over here, roaring, standing up for the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism for whatever he has given us, is just amongst the millions of things that he has showered. This one thing matters so much for a woman, even in contemporary society, amongst all the women empowerment and feminism that we can talk about.
Yeah, I think it's a very important perspective that you've brought out, Achla Swami, because what we have experienced in Yogini Sarvajnapeetam was something so brutal in the middle of the night, 1 o'clock, where you cannot even imagine that 50-60 policemen without any written warrant or written permission to check. What is the need for you to enter into a female and children campus when what is happening that too in the middle of the night, for you to do an inquiry? Enquiry was what? Okay, are you given food in the ashram? Is this such an important, such an life-threatening situation that you have to come without a written warrant in the middle of the night to ask these kids? Like literally all of us was so shocked that people and society can be so brutal, because we were only contributing based on Swamiji's teachings and all the sciences that he has revealed. We were only sharing those sciences to the world and to the people out there, and we were only spreading goodness. And what did we do for us to go through this kind of brutal attack in the middle of the night? Like, actually, to be honest, we didn't even have a single man who can come over there and protect us and say, just back off. We couldn't the campus. So it was something which we did not expect. And to be honest, the children who went through this trauma, where they had to face the police and all these officials, literally they were shaken from the bed. They were literally, woken up from the bed and asked to come and be part of the interrogation in the middle of the night at 1 a.m. in the middle of the night. And that traumatic events, it really has an impact even till today. We have kids who went through those traumatic events. They cannot use the restroom alone. They have been tortured. They have gone through a lot, and we still do not know what did we even do to get this in return, because all we did was we were only serving. We were only spreading the truths of Hinduism. We were only reviving the true Sanatana Hindu Dharma that Swamiji was so passionate, and he was continuously doing it for decades. We only took this opportunity to spread the same science in Gujarat. And why people have to be so cruel? We could not even believe what was happening to us. And to be honest, we did not even expect this amount of hate speech can even prevail when all you're doing is only good to people. So it was a very important perspective that you brought out, because in the Adinam, we have never experienced that space. Day and night, the work used to happen. Day and night, we used to enrich people. We used to feel so secure in the campus. Like, we used to feel so empowered that women can do everything. And women can expand her potential and dimensions and can only contribute and enrich to the society. These are the things which Swamiji has directly imparted to us, and we have only experienced that empowerment in the campus. But for the first time, for me to experience the 10 years, whatever Swamiji and the community has been going through, we have been listening and part of it. But for us to experience something so brutal, like it was just 10 months old, the whole campus was, and we were only spreading yoga, the science of power manifestation, healing the community, all these good activities and good enriching activities is what we were doing. But what did we do to even deserve this amount of brutal persecution, that you will barge into the campus when there is no single men in the campus, we do not have any legal support, right? There is no written warrant, and all we were asking is, we will cooperate everything that you are saying. Just show me one written order. The police and the CW officials, they could not produce a single written order for them to conduct inquiry at the middle of the night in 1 o'clock. Without a single document, they literally pushed all of us.
A place where all women are there.
They just barged in and then woke the kids in the middle of the night. Kids were totally shocked. Totally shocked. They do not even know why they've been, who are these people? Why people with police uniform, why are they even coming? What do they really want from us? What did we do to deserve that? They were in utter trauma. They were in utter shock and trauma. And I remember one incident. There was one kid. She was only 9-year-old, and she was sleeping, and she could not wake up because it's really late. 9-year-old in the middle of the night, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock. It's totally unusual for her to wake up at that time. She wants to sleep. She doesn't even understand who is police, who is not police. The police woman, she was literally pushing and told, no, you have to come. And she literally dragged that kid, small kid, 9-year-old kid. What is the question that you want to ask? They're asking, are you given food here? Is it a question that you want to ask at 2 a.m. in the middle of the night? And then once they are telling, they're taking care very well. And then the next, what they do is they show pornographic material to the kids. We were so shocked.
Actually, one point I would like to highlight here, as you are sharing about, one is barging into the campus, into the female campus, and how they were handling the kids. And the second is, each, without even a written warrant, without even a written order, that they have to come and any of such thing has to happen, because each and every legal procedure we were completely cooperating and completely abiding by it. But just barging into the campus and the way the kids were handled, there are so many videos out there where the kids are terrorized and crying. We can see where the 8-year-old child, the 9-year-old child is crying, saying she didn't know what was happening. She didn't know what kind of content was showed. Especially in the Nithyananda Gurukul, where the kids are brought up in such an innocent ambience, where they're not having any kind of exposure to any kind of violence, there is absolutely no kind of sexual perversions. They're brought up in a pure, innocent ambience. But these kids were force-fed non-veg. They were shown abusive pornographic material. And most important of all of us, the Adi Shaivite minority tradition, all of us revere and worship the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, not just as the Guru, as our father and mother. And the worst thing that can happen is that we were shown, the children were shown, in the name of interrogation, the children were shown pornographic and morphed material, abusive content, the derogatory content directly on the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism. So many kids remember not being able to sleep days after, feeling traumatized with the content that they were force-fed.
And each of them have gone through extreme pain. What they have gone through, what has happened, a child welfare committee is expected to ensure the children are safe, not that they'll come and torment the children in the middle of the night. It is against their own guidelines. It is against the protocols that they are expected to follow. They cannot come and wake up the kids in the middle of the night and force feed non-veg to the kids and show obscene pornographic material to the kids. Kids less than the age of 5 were forcefully shown, traumatized, terrorized, but just because they have received the initiation from Swami, just because they have experienced the powerfulness, completion, and that bliss living with Swamiji, having Swamiji as their own father and mother. Each of them were able to stand there and tell, even despite of the brainwashing that the CWC, the Child Welfare Committee members tried doing, they were able to stand there and they were able to see. You all can see here, the picture that all of you are seeing right now is the raid that the police did without any kind of order from the court. I request the previous slide to be projected.
Actually, we all can see how illegally police barged in, and each of this was a schemed, cunning, strategic tactic done by the neo-Hindutva extremist militant Kundari. And all of us can see here how the whole thing was planned, trying to use us. Actually, the whole destruction of the Yogini Sarvajnapeetam, the whole revival the Supreme Pontiff had done, and the way it was destroyed, brought to grounds illegally, immorally, using all illegal methods, using blackmail, threats, using arrests, using illegal arrests, and so much more. We can see how lawfare and media was used to bring the revival of Vedic feminism down.
Actually, I would like to highlight here regarding this culinary, because we have been the victims of our abuser. I actually feel extremely disgusted, but unfortunately, I have to say, he was a biological father. Yes, what? Sorry for the technical glitch. Would like to highlight and say, as he was our biological abuser father, he is an abuser who has traumatized us, who, because he cannot handle any women, any place, women being empowered, he cannot handle that. That is why when he saw here, he came here along with the Child Welfare Committee and tormented the children. Children at the age less than 5-year-old kids. The minor girls were taken in the middle of the night forcefully by these militant extremists. This culinary is spearheaded by the culinary. They were all taken into a room and tormented at the middle of the night.
Actually, this is just one step in the whole plan that was laid out strategically, how this whole revival of Vedic feminism was stopped. To each and every viewer that is watching this, there are so many strategies, so many cunning strategies, sinister conspiracies and plans that were laid out to bring this grand revival of Hindu feminism to grounds. We also saw various aspects, and we are now seeing how the children were directly attacked, how the children of the Yogini Sarvajnapeetam, who are directly initiated, who are being groomed and brought up in the Nithyananda Gurukul, were attacked in the name of interrogation by the CWC committee. And the mastermind behind that is a sinister conspirator, the neo-Hindutva anti-Hindu militant extremist culinary. And we all can actually see here now how each of these children, what was the cause? What did the women, the young children, the monks and the nuns living there, what did we have to face? What did we have to go through? Struggling for justice. They were all made homeless overnight. What each of you are going to listen to is the cry of every girl child that was put through the torture of having to watch pornographic content, of each and every girl child that was put through the torture and threats of having to be arrested if they are not going to be putting false allegations against the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism.
Each of you can see the sad faces of those minor children that felt so extreme pain, that pressure, and unable to handle the pressure that the Child Welfare Committee were trying to force on them. All of you can see their faces. We're even going to be playing to all of you their testimonials and showing to you how that pain and torture and pressure that they went through. Understand what you're seeing right now, what you're listening to right now is exactly what has been happening to us for centuries now. Starting from how the Brahmin babies were taken and tied in the tail of the horses of the Mughals and dragged on the roads. How the girl children were treated, how they were raped brutally. Now, as a hologram of this entire persecution of Hinduism, it is happening on the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism and Kailasa. Understand today what you are seeing. Each of these children were groomed very carefully by giving the most organic, sattvic food. Not just we don't eat eggs or any kind of meat, we don't even touch garlic or onion. When such pure food has been monitored and groomed and very carefully we have been consuming, the children, such young children were force-fed non-veg just so that their woe of this brahmacharya, woe of this, the commitment that they have taken for living this lifestyle of sannyas can be broken. This was a sinister conspiracy which was done, executed by the Child Welfare Committee. Understand, Child Welfare Committee, all the people that are watching this live right now, you please answer, according to you, in your nationality, in your place, what is a Child Welfare Committee supposed to be doing? Of course, it is supposed to be ensuring the welfare of the children, as the name itself says. But unfortunately, these sinister anti-Hindu extremist terrorists who come in the guard of Child Welfare Committee, they come and they torment the children by force-feeding non-veg, by waking them up in the middle of the night. Kids were beaten up by the Child Welfare Committee and woken up. Children, there were so many children were threatened to tell, and actually they were asking, you tell that you have committed suicide, tell you have attempted suicide. Children of 5-year-old, they're like, what are you talking? This is not what my Guru Swamiji has taught me even. They're begging, telling, this is middle of the night, I'm not even understanding what you're talking. Please leave us, leave us. This, what has been happening, what is happening
actually
right
now, each and every one of us can hear the cry of these young women, the young children who had to went through the whole torture in the pretext of interrogation. What was happening? What did each and every girl child go through? Let us directly listen to the cry of these young children as they were seeking for help, as they were wanting to express what they went through in the pretext of interrogation by the Child Welfare Committee.
Nithyananda, my name is Masoni and I'm 16 years old. Today I would like to share what happened to me on the persecution night. So in the middle of the night, few strangers came inside the female campus and me, nor my friends, none of us were understanding why they are here, what was happening. We were woken up in the middle of the night. All of us were thinking, who are these strangers inside our room? And not even female, but male were also present there inside the female campus. Few of my fellow Balasans were woken up brutally, violently. They took us in the room and did not even let our mentors come inside the room. I was alone inside the room with strange people. I was very terrified and full of fears. When I told this to my parents, they were shaken out of fear. Thanks to Swamiji that he held them and gave them the strength to leave me here and let me be with Swamiji. Thank you, Nithyananda.
நித்யானந்தம். என்னோட பேரு காரிகை. என்னோட வயசு 6. 2019 குஜராத் யோகினி சர்வஜ்ஞ பீட்டத்தை பத்தி நான் பேச போறேன். அங்க என்ன நடந்ததுன்னு, ஒரு நாள் மிட் நைட்ல ஒரு போலீஸ் என்னை சடனா எழுப்பினாங்க, என்னையும் என்னோட ஃப்ரெண்ட்ஸையும். அப்புறம் நினைச்சு ஏன் எழுப்புறாங்கன்னு. அப்புறம் ஏன்னா யாருமே மிட் நைட்ல எழுச்சிக்க மாட்டாங்க, யாருமே மிட் நைட்ல எழுச்சிக்க மாட்டாங்க. சடனா எழுப்பினாங்க. நான் நினைச்சு என்னது இது, ஏன் எழுப்புறாங்க. அப்புறம் நான் எப்பவுமே மென்டரோட தான் இருப்பேன். சடனா மென்டர்ஸ் எல்லாமே லாக் பண்ணிட்டாங்க, கிட்ஸ் எல்லாம் லாக் பண்ணிட்டாங்க. எனக்கு ரொம்ப பயமா இருந்தது. அப்புறம் ஒருத்தங்களாம் அவங்க கூப்பிட ஆரம்பிச்சுட்டாங்க. அதுக்கப்புறம் என்னோட ஒரு ஃப்ரெண்டா கூப்பிட ஆரம்பிச்சுட்டாங்க, ஒரு போலீஸ். அப்புறம் நான் பயந்துட்டேன். அப்புறம் அவங்க ஒரு ரூம்ல லாக்டா இருந்தாங்க, எல்லா என்னோட ஃப்ரெண்ட்ஸ் எல்லாருமே. அப்புறம் ஒரு ரூம்ல போலீஸ் ஃபுல்லா இருந்தாங்க. என்னோட எல்லா ஃப்ரெண்ட்ஸுமே அங்க உள்ள போன பிறகு நான் நினைச்சேன் அவங்க திருப்பி நாங்க எங்க இருக்கோமோ அங்க வருவாங்கன்னு. பார்த்தா அவங்க இன்னொன்று ரூமுக்கு போயிட்டாங்க. அதனால நான் பயந்துட்டேன், என்ன நடக்குதுன்னு. அப்புறம் நான் அப்புறம் என்ன கூப்பிட்டாங்க. நான் என்னோட ஒரு பெரிய என்னோட ஃப்ரெண்டு கிட்ட நான் சொல்லிட்டு இருந்தேன், நீங்களேயும் கூட வாங்கன்னு. அவங்க சொன்னாங்க, நீ இப்போ நான் வரேன்னு. அப்புறம் என்ன ஒரு போலீஸ் என்னோட கையை பிடிச்சிக்கிட்டாங்க, ஒரு ரூம்க்கு இழுத்துட்டு போனாங்க. நான் அழுதுட்டு இருந்தேன். அப்புறம் அந்த ரூம் போன பிறகு அவங்க எனக்கு சாக்லேட்ஸ் காட்டினாங்க. அவங்க சொன்னாங்க, நீ ஏதாவது ஒரு சாக்லேட் எடுத்துதான் ஆகணும், சாய்ஸ் இல்லைன்னு. நான் சொன்னேன், என்னோட ஸ்பிரிச்சுவல் மாஸ்டர் சொல்லியிருக்காரு ஒயிட் சுகர் எனக்கு நல்லது இல்லைன்னு. அவங்க சொன்னாங்க, உன்னோட ஸ்பிரிச்சுவல் மாஸ்டர் யாரு உனக்கு டெசிஷன்ஸ் எடுக்கிறதுக்கு? நான் சொன்னா, அவர் என்னோட ஸ்பிரிச்சுவல் மாஸ்டர், அதனால அவர் எனக்கு டெசிஷன்ஸ் எடுக்கல. அவங்க திருப்பி கேட்டாங்க, அவர் யார் உனக்கு? உன்னோட அம்மாவாலதான் உனக்கு டெசிஷன்ஸ் எடுக்க முடியும்னு. நான் சொன்னேன், எப்படி என்னோட அம்மா சேம் திங் சொல்லுவாங்க. அப்புறம் அந்த போலீஸஸ் எல்லாம் சொன்னாங்க, உன்னோட அம்மா யார் உனக்கு டெசிஷன்ஸ் எடுக்க? எங்களால தான் உனக்கு டெசிஷன்ஸ் எடுக்க முடியும். அப்புறம் நான் சொன்னேன், நீங்க யார் எனக்கு டெசிஷன்ஸ் எடுக்க? உங்களால எனக்கு டெசிஷன்ஸ் எடுக்க முடியாது, உங்ககிட்ட ரைட்ஸ் இல்லை எனக்கு டெசிஷன்ஸ் எடுக்கிறதுக்கு. நான் சொன்னேன், என்னோட குருவும் என்னோட அம்மாவால மட்டுமே எனக்கு டெசிஷன்ஸ் எடுக்க முடியும், வேற யாராலையும் எனக்கு டெசிஷன்ஸ் எடுக்க ரைட்ஸ் இல்லை. அப்புறம் அவங்க என்னை விட்டுட்டாங்க. திருப்பி அவங்க என்ன கூப்பிட்டாங்க அதே ரூமுக்கு. அந்த ரூம்ல நிறைய பேர் இருந்தாங்க. நான் என்னோட ஃப்ரெண்டோட போகும்போது எத்தனை போலீஸ் இருந்தாங்க, அத்தனை போலீஸ்லயும் என்னையும் ஒரு சின்ன குழந்தையும் கூப்பிட்டாங்க. நாங்க 2 பேர் போகும்போதே நாங்க 2 பேர் ரொம்ப பயந்துட்டோம். நாங்க அங்க போகும்போது அங்க ஒரு வீடியோ காட்டினாங்க. நித்யானந்திதாக்கும் சுவாமிஜியும் க்ளோத்ஸ் இல்லாம இருந்தாங்க. சுவாமிஜி நித்யானந்திதாக்காவோட பேக் மேல மெரிச்சிட்டு இருந்தாரு. அப்புறம் ஈவா அழுக ஆரம்பிச்சுட்டா. அவ அழுக ஆரம்பிச்சுட்டா. நான் சொன்னேன், ஈவா என்னோட ஃப்ரெண்டு வந்து அழுக ஆரம்பிச்சுட்டேன். நான் சொன்னேன் அவளோட பேர் வந்து ஈவா. அதனால நான் ஈவா கிட்ட சொன்னேன், ஈவா அழுகிறத நிறுத்து, சுவாமிஜியோட பேர் தான் கெட்டுதான் போகும்னு. அப்புறம் அவ வந்து அழுகிறத நிறுத்திட்டு அப்புறம் ஒரு பிக்சர் காட்டினாங்க. இதுல வந்து சுவாமிஜி நித்யானந்திதாக்கா தத்துவப்பிரியாக்கா வந்து க்ளோத்ஸ் இல்லாம இருந்தாங்க. சுவாமிஜியோட முதுகு மேல நித்யானந்திதாக்காவும் தத்துவப்பிரியாக்காவும் மெரிச்சிட்டு இருந்தாங்க. அப்புறம் நாங்க 2 பேரும் ஆல்மோஸ்ட் அழுகிற மாதிரி இருந்தோம். அப்புறம் அவங்க வந்து எங்க 2 பேரை விட்டுட்டாங்க. இத கேட்டு நான் நினைக்கிறேன் நீங்க வந்து சுவாமிஜி எங்க திருப்பி எடுத்துட்டு வர ஹெல்ப் பண்ணுவீங்கன்னு. நித்யானந்தம்.
What you're listening to is a testimonial from a 7-year-old kid. Last year, she was just 6-year-old. And the experiences that she is sharing on how she was traumatized when the CWC officials interrogated her is something so brutal and cruel. She was saying that in the middle of the night, she was woken up and she could not even understand why she should be woken up in the middle of the night in the first place, because she has never experienced such a trauma. And further, they were questioning about why you are not having sugar in your meal, white sugar in your meal. And then for that, she replied that my spiritual guru has told that it is not good for health, so we are not having the sugar. And then the officials told, who is your spiritual guru to make decisions in your life? It is your parents who need to make decisions in your life. Then she responded, yes, my mother will also say the same thing. She will just say whatever my spiritual guru says, let's follow. And she will also agree to the same thing. Then the officials went one step ahead and then told, who is your mother to make decisions in your life? We are telling you, you need to listen to us. You need to listen to our decisions that we want to make in your life. It is something so traumatic at the age of 6 for somebody to listen to the things that the parents cannot make decisions in their life, spiritual guru cannot make decisions in their life, and it is the police and the authorities who will say what each kid has to do. It is something so violent and violating for a 6-year-old kid to go through. And further, the disturbing things that she shared in the testimonial was she was dragged to one more room along with her friend, and they showed pornographic material where they showed the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, Swamiji, in naked with 2 other female monks who were also naked, and they were stamping on his back. And as soon as they saw this visual, she was so shocked, and her friend started crying. Her friend is also younger to her, 5-year-old kid. And please understand, they're exposing this kind of false material, morphed material to 5-year-old and 6-year-old kids. What did they do? What did they deserve to see this? These officials are supposed to uphold the child protection, uphold to ensure that the children are not exposed to this kind of material. But here in this case, they showed this kind of false material, false mocked material, and then the kid is crying and she is consoling the kid. Don't believe this. This is something so traumatic for a 6-year-old kid to go through. So much of persecution. And then she's saying, and she's sharing all of this to the viewers, hoping that they will help her out from this ongoing persecution. This is the voice of not just the 5-year-old or 6-year-old kid. This is the voice of every single woman of the ASMT community. We feel so empowered to practice the principles of Hinduism. We feel the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism has empowered us to live this lifestyle we want to live this lifestyle. Please allow us to breathe in this ambience where we cannot even follow our guru. We cannot even follow the religion that we want to follow. We cannot even have the fundamental rights to express what we want to express. We are celibate monks. We don't deserve to get exposed to some morphed pornographic material. It is such a violation in our inner space. So all we are requesting is a basic space for us to breathe, where we can just practice our celibacy, where we can empower the community with the truths that the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism is reviving from the Vedas and Agamas. I request the interview operator to play the further testimonials. It is
Yes, Nithyananda. I am Manitya Virjananda. I am 16 years old and I'm a Balasan of Nithyananda Gurukul. So I want to share all of you the most traumatized year which I went through is the year 2019, where all of us in Gujarat were towards the end of the year. Suddenly in the middle of the night, lots of policemen barged into our female campuses, even this female campus, and strictly said that without any permission, none of the male boys could not enter the campus. But even violating our rules, the policemen just barged into our campus and directly went to our rooms where we were staying. And we were sleeping at the point of time. It was kind of midtime and all of us were deep into sleep. And they woke us up, and one of the kid next to me, she was so scared, and this is the first time she was seeing a lot of policemen and everything. The two were carrying big guns. She started crying, and seeing that, I felt even more scared and everything. And she immediately clutched onto my hands, and we went downstairs, and all of us were sitting in a room. And in the next room, a lot of police, and with big guns were there, interrogating each and every one of us. And one of my friends, and suddenly one of my friends, when it was time for one of my friends to go for interrogation, and her father requested whether he can go with her to be on the safer side. But immediately they said no, he can't go with her, she has to come alone. That immediately all the policemen with big guns started manhandling him very badly. They started pulling his chattas, literally making a ruckus over there. And seeing that, I was terrified, and I was panting for breath. I was not able to breathe, seeing this whole situation, so much of chaos. A lot people started screaming and seeing all the policemen with big guns over there. I was not able to breathe, even though they can see that I wanted breath, and I was telling to the doctors over there who was attending to us that Ma was not able to breathe. But even for that, they was not letting us. My whole body turned blue and black. I was almost about to faint on the ground. Only then they left me to the doctor. Till then, none of the medications was even given to me. And the next day, a lot of people, a lot of villagers came with bamboo sticks and glass bottles for doing lathi charge over there. And at that point of time, I was taking a bath, and all the people who were carrying the cameras, the cameramen, they climbed the trees, and they were filming me over there. I was taking a bath, I was having a shower, and they were filming me through the to the windows over there, and even though I was trying to hide myself from them, they came even closer, and at last I locked myself up behind the door for almost 2 hours, not knowing which direction to travel, to my right or left, whether like anybody is there inside the bathroom or not. Only like I was screaming for somebody's help, and nobody was there at the point of time. And I literally I had to hide myself from all of them for nearly 2 hours, just waiting over there, not knowing which direction to turn, whether to my right or left. And only when one of my mentors came and assured me, saying that no one is there, we are safe, only that I came in from the bathroom. Otherwise, I was there for 2 hours, locked up, didn't know which direction even to turn, whether to go front or back or anything. And the next day, we have been called for an interrogation where all our mentors were locked up in a room and not letting us to come and interact with us, not even see us even for a moment. Like if they want to see us, by mistake to this, they need to look their face down. Seeing those people, seeing the mentors who were taking care of, I felt really bad, saying that like, hey, they were the one who took care of us, and they have the rights to ask us how we were, and they didn't have the permission even to look at our face and even see at which condition we were in. And all of us were in one room, and we were literally starved for 2 hours, and at last they gave us lunch. At last they gave us dinner, and one by one we were called for interrogation. And when it was my turn to go, when the moment I sat on the chair, they locked up the room, and the room was filled with policemen, a lot of policemen who were like really like, it's like seeing the figure itself, I got really so scared, and they took carrying big guns, and they were interrogating me whether you like to be in Gurukul or not. I said yes, I would like to be in Gurukul. It's my future. Swamiji, I know for the fact that Swamiji will give me a better future than me being outside. I know for the fact that I'll have a great future ahead of me if I be here. And they told really disgusting things about Swamiji. They even said that Swamiji's murderer, he's a molester, he's a rapist, all sorts of words which I didn't know at that amount of time. And it was even more terrorizing. They even spoke very bad about my mother, saying that your mother didn't know which school to put. Once they came to know that I'm from Malaysia, they started talking very bad about my mother, saying that your mother didn't know to which school to put in. She has no brain. Hearing such words about your own mother, I really felt like I could not tolerate over that. I was really terrified over there, and I could not take it anymore. And the next day, the CWC people, the child women welfare committee people came for interrogating us. And at the time, my record file was given in front of them, and they asked us why this fee, why was being charged for you to join Gurukul. I said to them very clearly that it's a very old fee. It's very old fees, and it said very clearly it's the year 2013, whereas in the year of 2019 at the point of time. And I even told to the person who was interrogating that, sir, this was charged up at 2013, not in year 2019, and after Gurukul became free, like anybody from all around the globe can come and join us. But still, he kept on asking, why did he charge? Why did you charge at point of time? In spite of seeing the number that it was written 2030 very clearly, he still asked me that why did Swamiji charge us for joining Gurukul? I could not understand what was going on over there. I was saying very clearly and sitting very clearly on the form, it's the year 2013, and why is he and we ended 2019, and a lot of things have changes have been occurred in the Gurukul. And I don't know why he's still on to this, like it's the year 2013 and everything. I said to him very clearly, sir, it's the year 2013 and we are in the year 2019 and now Gurukul is free. I don't know why he's still asking me this question again and again, even though you can see in the form that it's clearly written 2013. Then immediately the person who was interpreting, who was sitting right next to me, he came even more closer to me and he was behaving a bit like really weird. And I was grown up in an environment where we have been following the vow of celibacy, where we're only being among our female members and we've grown up together. And yeah, and this guy over there, he just comes and interrupts my inner space. He comes and interrupts my personal space, and I could literally feel his breath on me. And even though I was trying to tell to him that, sir, can you please move ahead, he didn't listen. He again came so close next to me, and he really came and interrupted my privacy space. I'm telling you. I don't know what should I do at the point of time, because the door was locked and nobody whom I knew was there inside the room. And whoever was in the room was like completely new faces. Like they really have no idea who they were. And I just felt very clearly that just the name of Child Women Commission, they just came and literally abused us over there. Like, the room was locked, and even though I kept on telling him that, sir, can you please move away? Like, you're interrupting my privacy space. He still did not listen. He came even more closer to me, and I could literally feel his breath on me. I really felt so disgusting. I feel weird at the point of time. I don't know what to do at the point of time. And all the men over there was literally laughing at me. And I didn't know what to do at the moment of time. I pushed him, and then he realized that what he did was wrong. Otherwise, I don't know what was his intention on me, or what was he going to do on me in the next moment of time itself. So I really have a question to those of you who are watching this video, like out there, that the people who are not being tortured so much, like me, like who has not been tortured so much, and people are given listening to him, whereas me, who has been really tortured so much, very young age, that too under the age of 18, and that too a minor, female, and plus a foreigner. Why am we being attacked so much like this? And even though we're trying to express ourselves so much, why is no one is ready to give the listening to us? And those of you who are listening to this video, I hope by listening to this, you will take the next action which is required for it. Thank you, Nithyananda.
This, what you heard, is just one or two or a few of the very concerning voices of the distraught, tortured children of the ASMT community. what this kid described, yes, it sounded shocking, deplorable, inhuman. But this and many such similar tortures, inhuman crimes has been done to not only the children, but also to the women of the ASMT community, not once, over and over again, over a decade-long persecution, and much more than what one can even imagine is the torture, the persecution that has been done to the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, Nithyananda Paramashivam. We just shared with you two of the Gurukul Balasans, what they were subjected to. This same thing in different inhuman levels of inhumanity, the Balasans have been subjected to even before. Everything being done with the singular motive of delegitimizing, eliminating, and exterminating the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism and Kailasa, which is his very life breath, right from its very roots. And as the kids shared, all of us also have the same prayer in our hearts. Can somebody do something to stop this juggernaut, to stop the persecution of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism and Kailasa, to end this Hindu Holocaust that seems to be intensifying, more so because of the ignorance of the Hindus, who, because of various reasons, be it the media false narratives, the disinformation, or just plain apathy, just being a bystander to even something as grave as this genocide of Hindus, the ethnocide, the sheer destruction of Hinduism from its very roots.
What we have seen is something which is totally unheard of, where the authorities who are supposed to protect the child rights, they have gone over the board and actually denying the child rights. They are the one who is abusing the child rights. This is something which you would not have heard before, but that is the true experience of the female monks and the children of the ASMT community. We feel so safe in the ambience of our ecosystems, our Kailasa ecosystems. We want to practice our religion. We want to express the freedom of speech. We want to serve the society through yoga, meditation, and healing practices. We only want to serve the society. We do not want to be abused anymore just because we are following the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, just because we are following Hinduism itself. So with this, we like to conclude today's show. And in the next coming segment, we are going to talk about more such facts that shook us from the core, that what are we doing really wrong? Why we have to be persecuted so much? So with this, we thank all the viewers for paying your attention, for listening to our suffering, our pain of being persecuted. Thank you so much for joining us in the show today. We'd like to connect with you guys in the next segment with more facts and how this persecution is all aimed at exterminating the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, who is the last hope for the humanity to revive the Sanatana Hindu Dharma to its original glory. With this, we would like to conclude the session with the Purna Mantra. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavasishyate. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Tat Sat. Sarvam Bhagavat Shri Nithyananda Paramashiva Padukarpanamastu. Om Nithyanandam. Thank you so much for joining the show today. Nithyanandam.
Paramashivoham.